Hey, you. Hey, y'all. Come here. Come here for a minute. Let me talk to y'all for a minute. Repeat after me. The wait is over. Welcome to the premiere episode of WHOL Conversation. This is the podcast and web series where we heal out loud and dive deep into real life challenges and discover tools for transformation, whether it's breaking generational patterns and building healthier relationships or navigating life's toughest moments. We're here to grow together. I hope you believe that, because I mean that. But this journey isn't just about me, it's about you. So make sure to hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs a little inspiration today, and subscribe to our channel. Please do that. And don't forget to tap that notification bell, bing, so you never miss an episode. Join the conversations on Instagram and Facebook at WHOL Conversations. And let's make healing contagious. Know what I mean? Let's heal, grow, thrive together. WHOL Conversations. Guess what, yo? It starts now. Hello, my name is Orlando Vick Jr., and I have the privilege and the honor of inviting you to embark on a new journey with me as we venture into a new territory with our podcast series, WHOL Conversations. WHOL stands for Wounds Healed Out Loud. And WHOL Conversation is an extension of the work that I've done for over 20 years in the mentoring, ministry, and mental health fields. As a motivational speaker, my vision has always been to see lives change and to help people heal their wounds. And this season on WHOL Conversations, my guest co-host is Miss Letitia Manning. Letitia Manning is a trusted ministry leader with a wealth of knowledge and experience in health and personal development and mental fitness. And each episode will tackle topics that many experience and have even sustained wounds from. And how do we move from being the wounded to being the healed? And that's our focus. And we're doing that by healing wounds out loud through meaningful conversations. What up, kings and queens? Welcome to WHOL Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Orlando Vick, and
I'm co-host Letitia Manning.
What's up, Tia?
Not much. What's up with you?
Listen, I'm good. I am amazing. I'm happy today because we get to impact, motivate, and inspire the people.
Yes, we do.
Because mental health is so important. And I believe that all lives deserve healed wounds. Because, you know, we all need to be healed and whole.
That's right. Absolutely.
And so today I want to deal with this topic called blended families.
Ooh, this gonna be a good one too.
Blended families. But before we get there, one of the things that I love to do, anytime I'm working out, anytime I'm on an assignment, I'm always taking deep breaths. I'm always meditating because I believe that it's important to do that. Let go bad air, you know, to relax yourself and to bring yourself into a peaceful place. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think it's really important because it's like every time we talk about a topic or, you know, we're just having a conversation, sometimes some things, like we talked about, trigger points. So it's good to have that meditation, you know, that breathe in, breathe out and kind of relax from all that.
Wow, that's so good. Breathing, to me, it feels like a good medication. So if you don't mind, everyone, please, with us, let's breathe together.
Yes.
I want you guys to know that this podcast is literally the platform for us to journey together and be a community together.
Yes.
And I want you to know that you're not alone. And so together we're going to breathe and we're going to get right into this message about blended families.
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, come on, let's breathe. So on the count of 3, we're going to breathe together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let it go. Inhale. Let it go. Inhale. Let it go. Wow. I feel good. You feel good?
Yes. Feel great.
I
Very
feel
peaceful.
really, real peaceful.
Yes.
Feel like I'm on water.
Yeah.
And so what we just did, we inhaled peace and exhaled stress.
Yes.
And we inhaled joy and vitality and exhaled depression. And we inhaled positivity and light and exhale
That
all
negativity.
negativity.
Yes. Oof.
Oh man, I feel good about that.
Me too.
And you should feel good about it too.
That's right.
Yeah. So let's talk today about blended families.
Wow. Wow.
Listen.
I can relate to that.
Okay, so can you go?
Yeah.
Open up that door.
Okay. Oh man.
Let's go.
Okay, so with blended families, I told y'all my parents are Jamaican,
Mhm.
of course, but my mom, of course, and my dad, they're divorced. And so
Okay.
when my mom got remarried, it was different for us, my twin sister and I. And before we had my other little sisters, younger sisters. But so it was just something different to adapt to and adjust. You know, we came to a whole different country.
Mhm.
We, our stepdad was American, is American. And so even the traditions of what we knew, the cultural aspect of what we knew, here we had to learn different things. So like we knew about how Americans celebrated Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, things like that. It was just different for us. Even the food that we ate, it was something completely different.
Wow.
I mean, this is funny now when I think about it, but even like how to eat an apple, right?
Oh, wow.
Because an apple in Jamaica is something different. It looked like a pear, the shape of a pear. But here, your apples have all different type of apples. Well, how I learned to eat an apple was by watching the cartoons. You know how they eat them and they core them like it. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
Okay, well, you know how you eat an apple on the cartoons and they eat them all around and all you leave is the core. That's how I eat an apple to this day because I thought that's how you're supposed to eat an apple in America.
Bougie. That sounds like you got a bougie spirit.
No, I just was like, isn't this the right way to do it? But all that to say, blending families, it was just something different. And we came from a different environment, culture, and having to relate to that and having to get used to the American side of the family.
Okay.
Even how I remember my stepdad's mom, she would bake cakes and things like that. And we would go to school. After we came from school, we would go to her house.
Wow.
And, deal with their side of the family. It was just different. We kind of still felt like we didn't fit in, honestly.
Wow.
We just felt
that's
like,
big.
yeah, because we just were, it was different. You know what I mean? And we just weren't used to a lot of things. It's not that they didn't try to make us feel welcomed. It's just, we always felt kind of like, whoa, this is different. We don't feel included. And so I just always said, if I ever get married and if I ever had children, that prayerfully my children don't ever have to experience the fact of a blended family. Right. Not to say that it's a bad thing. Right. I really believe that there are wonderful blended families out there that work so much better, than their biological families, because the situations may not be that great. Right. But yeah, so that's what I learned from my side. What about you?
I have a really positive, view on blended families. I grew up in one myself. And so, what my brothers and I, we grew up together, different fathers, same mom. But it was all positive, it was all positive. We're all are close. But I did have godparents. My godparent, she was, white. She was from, Wisconsin.
Wow.
And my godfather, he was Guyanese.
Oh, wow.
And so, but they were godparents. But if I ever got close to knowing what a blended family was, that's the closest I got to it. You know what I'm saying? Just feeling as though that, I was brought into someone else's culture and climate and, an atmosphere and unity and, and how they just bridged everything together and how we were just on one accord.
That's
just
awesome.
From different walks of life.
Awesome.
And it really was amazing. It really was amazing. The blend was great. and the blend wasn't contaminated. The blend was right. And
That's really good.
but I do know some people who struggle with blended families, and a lot of that, you know, from you having a raising style, somebody else having a raising
Right,
style,
right. That's right.
it can be tough,
Yes.
and so I've heard some people, struggle with having blended families because whether, somebody you're dating have children,
Mm-hmm.
and they come into your relationship, come into your, in your life with their children, and then you're now trying to focus on how would this all work together.
Yes.
How will we all be on one accord? What would be the raising style? What would be the characteristics blended? What would be the behaviors blended? And how will this all work for now and the future to come?
Yes.
And I've seen a lot of that,
That's some great questions.
happen. Even myself, I've dated, people with children, and it's something about children when they're small. It seems like they're easily to
Oh,
get
yes,
along,
yes.
rather than
When they're older.
when they're older.
Right.
It's kind of hard of a bond or connection,
Yes.
because it's like you're impeding on my territory.
Right.
And so, and then also even those who are dating, it's just like, that person now has to adapt to your children, and you now have to adapt to their children if they have, or if the other person does or does not have.
Yes.
And um and I can say this, that I remember one time dating an individual where they had children, and I mean, it was just, had a major issue with, the father wasn't, acting, right, and wasn't accepting, I guess, to whether the mother dating or his kids, I guess, being involved with another man,
Right. Right.
and made it very hard for me, to the point where it could have cost me a lot. But at the same token, and it brought about a wedge
Mm-hmm.
that kind of severed the relationship totally. And
Yes.
that a lot of times can be triggering to people who desire blended families,
Right.
or giving it a try, and wanting to see, the beautification out of that to happen. But then you have people that are on the outskirts now, who used to be inside, that are either envious or jealous of a new merge that is
Yes, that's
happening,
right. Yeah.
and they try to, sabotage it, or break it down, or however. But I also, although that there is some issues that can happen to it, there are also some positivity to it as well.
True.
Because you got some kids who are, I've seen some, a situation where you may have had a child who's just, by themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and the mom or the dad date someone who got 2 or 3 or 4
Yes.
kids, and that child was like, I always wanted siblings,
sister,
a
that's
brother or
right.
sister,
Yes.
and then they're now,
Yes.
joined together, and
Yes.
and as one. And when you see them, you don't really know the difference,
That's right.
because they blend it so well,
That's right.
that they're just uniquely joined as a family.
And I have to say that when you're talking about that, it reminds me of my 3 younger sisters, because I'm a twin, and we have 3 younger sisters. And even though we're a blended family, all 3 of our younger sisters can say we're all very close, very close, because as we grew up with them and raised them, I say we raised them because we spent a lot of time with them. And we always let them know, hey, at the end of the day, there's no step. I don't ever say they're my step sisters. My twin sister and I never say that. We always say they're our sisters.
Yeah.
And everywhere we go, if all 5 of us are together, everybody swears y'all have the same smile. That you guys have the same big smile. You guys always, y'all seem just alike.
Yeah.
But we have different fathers.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes to show that it's dependent upon, I believe, like the parents.
Okay.
And even the siblings that come together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just knew what it was like, my twin sister and I. We knew what it was like to be the oldest, and to kind of feel that it was just like I said, if we felt different. Like we just knew we were different. We didn't want those three to feel that way when it came to us. So we taught them that we always had to stick together, that we were all one big happy family, you know, a blended family. So, and it worked out because till this day, they're all my babies. I call them all my babies. They're my baby dolls.
That's
But yeah,
that's
I mean,
amazing. That's
we
really,
love it. We have a wonderful relationship with our younger sisters.
wow. That's amazing. And you never know what it does for a person to have, you know, a family that you no longer have to say step, you know,
Right.
or
That's
it's a new word they're using now called bonus, like, oh, my bonus sister,
family. Yeah, that's
or whatever.
right.
And so, and it's just, that's your family. That's who you unite with,
that's
you know?
right.
And it's, when I think about blended families, I'm gonna be honest with you, I do, it's so funny. I could go back and forth on it because when you're blending families, you can be like, oh my God, my space is being invaded.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not getting the
My
attention.
kids would think that.
Yeah, I'm not getting the attention that I used to have, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Man, I used to buy me a whole bowl of ice cream and I got to share it with 5 people. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, you know, and eventually for some, you know, it gets easier. For some, it gets harder.
Right.
And so, and I think it's just depending on the family.
Yes,
you know,
it
what
is. I
they're
believe
walking
that.
into. Also, you know, what are the dynamics like, you know, for bringing that in. And so, you know, I think that it's important to know, you know, how, you know, what are the steps of, you know, creating a blended family and making a blended family work. How do you make something that is difficult in the beginning be easier, you know, later on? You know, because we're talking about, we never grew up together. For some has,
Right.
you know, and some have not. So for the some that have not grew up together, you know, and I would, you know, begin to, you know, post a few things on, you know, the age of acceptance for blended families, you know, where little kids, they're just like, oh my God, I got a new brother, I got a new sister, where older people, you know, older kids are like, hey, like, this is too much for me. Like, what's going on here?
Yes.
You know, and then how does it play on the relationship? How does it play on a relationship mentally, spiritually, emotionally? Do you have anything to say about that?
I just think that with that aspect of it, any parents out there, you know, siblings, whatever, older, I just think that it really is dependent upon how you're raised, you know, your environment, the environment you grew up in. You know, this is just my opinion, but I really believe that the parents, as parents, we have an important role to play when it comes to blending families together. And how we view it, how we treat those children that come into the family, what we say, and things like that has an impact on how they think and how they feel. So if they see that, oh my goodness, you know, Johnny came into the family and Johnny's an amazing kid. Guys, I want you to spend time with Johnny. We're going to all do this together as a family. I know no family is perfect and it takes time, but it's just if your kids see how welcoming and accepting you are to this child, this other child, and you know, we take time to build together and grow together to learn each other as a family, I feel like that allows your children to be open and accepting. I'm not saying it happens right away. It takes time. But if they have that attitude of, okay, you know what? I'm willing to open my heart and love somebody that I don't know.
That's good.
You know what I mean? If they see that, then it's like, okay, why not? You know what I mean? It may be a bit of a stretch, a challenge for me, but I'm willing to, I have that openness, that willingness to love somebody else that I don't know. And I think that goes just across the board. Forget about blended families, but just people in general.
Okay.
If we had that capacity to open our heart, which we do, to open our heart and love someone that we don't know, a stranger, you know, show them kindness, show them love, show them respect. That not only goes into, we want our children to be like that, but that has to do with us as adults, I feel like. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
That helps, I think, when you have that willingness, that openness to be accepting to others.
How does a family that once was blended um, accept being blended again after being hurt being blended previously?
That's good. Well, I could say for my family, like all 5 of us as sisters, like my mom and my stepdad got divorced, right? And then my stepdad remarried. But his wife never, she doesn't have children. She took us on. Now, I'd say because my twin sister and I, because we were the oldest, we were more open to accepting her. Where the younger one, they were younger. So it's kind of different because they're like, wait a minute, you're taking the place of our mom, but you're not our mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took them some time to be accepting of that. But my twin sister and I, we would always just, try to talk to them and say, hey, look, she's not taking our mother's place, but she's new to the family, but we still have to give her the opportunity, to get to know us.
Yeah.
It's only right. You know what I mean? Because she has a willingness to know us.
Right.
And so now, 10 plus years later, I mean, she's still in the family. You know what I mean?
One of the things that I love that you said is about having an open heart to receive, and accept. And that's why I was saying that how does a family accept after being broken by having something like that before? And I think that weighs a lot on a child, and it weighs a lot on a parent when we tried this before.
Yes.
And this did not go well. So how do I know to trust this again? Because I'll say this, I remember dating someone, and I blended, and what happened was, I mean, they literally, you would have thought that they didn't even know my children or anything, because once we were done, they were just like done away with my children.
Wow.
And so I was like, wow. But I was grateful and glad that my children were not impacted by being blended and having a relationship with the individual.
Were they younger? Your children were younger?
Yeah, but they were like, they were coherent enough to understand that this has something severed.
Yes.
So, and I was just glad that it didn't impact them cognitively, because then I would have had to deal, with that. And that's why I understand why people don't, a lot of times let you meet their children meet certain people at a certain time, unless it's really going to be something serious or however. But now you're talking about, okay, if something is serious and you're moving into marriage, all right, cool. Who's to say it wouldn't be a divorce? Who to say it wouldn't be a separation? True. I have people in my family now who, my aunt, she walked into her marriage. I mean, she walked into her marriage with a child, and my uncle did too. And then they had a child together.
Yeah.
Okay. But then again, there were some hard dynamics that were there that had to be adjusted, because then now you have a kid saying, you ain't my mother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then that person's head is like, well, I'm not trying to be your mother.
Right.
And so it becomes a major conflict between the two, because you can't really correct that child the way you want to, because the biological parent to that child will almost kind of correct you for talking to their biological kid.
Yeah.
So it could get very testy in that moment. And so I want to help a lot of people who are right now either considering a blended family, have been through a blended family, or have been hurt having a blended family. And how are you either coping through that, or how are you planning on knowing what does that look like with blending families together? It's funny because there has been times where, and I know how different this is, but my brothers and I, we came home a lot of times with our male friends, or even female friends, where our mom has literally taken on them as their children.
Wow.
Right. And then create a relationship with their parents and say, and my mother said, these are my children. Their parents would say, well, that's your mom. And everyone knows, like, we're just family together. It became a blended family. And I was like, well, why does this work easier than, a family? Because it's still another family that's still made. But I get it. It's because that mother or that father have dated somebody, and dating is different versus me not dating anyone, but I inherit, a son or a daughter or a spiritual son, daughter, however. And it's like, wow, but you're still calling them daughter. You're still calling them son. You still invite them over. You're still feeding them and all these other different things. And you walk around in the public and say, yes, this is my son. This is my daughter. But at the same token, when you're dating somebody, the blending is different.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because I guess it's more, what would you say to that?
I would think it's more intimate.
More intimate. Okay.
I'm not saying that with the parental thing, as far as them taking on or adopting them, your friends or girlfriend or whatever, saying, oh, okay, well, that's, my son or daughter. But I think that I think it really goes back to just what you yourself as an adult, me, myself as an adult, what am I okay with? How do I see relationships? Is it healthy for me or is it toxic? Even when it comes to blending my children with somebody else's children, why is it that, it's not working well? What am I not doing? You know what I mean? To make this work.
Right.
If it's meant to work. Because again, I feel like I still don't always put it on just the children. I really think it has to do with, again, us as adults.
Yeah.
What we learn, what we believe, how do we see things? You know what I mean? What traumas, or issues have we not dealt with?
Right.
That we projected onto our kids, and then as a result, even our kids have issues in building a relationship with somebody else from the outside.
Right.
So I think it's just a lot of different factors that go into it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a part of it.
Yeah.
Knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Knowing what you believe, what you're teaching your children, on how to build relationships.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a part of it to me, I think.
That's a great. I even know that even some children have a hard time, even connecting with peers in their school.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So let alone something as intimate as that to come into their territory. And then what we don't do when we do blend families, I believe, and one of the things that my dad did with me that I really love that he did, he didn't thrust me into, when he got married, he didn't thrust me into it.
That's good.
It was gradual, it was gradual. But I believe that, those types of situations, check on your kid's psyche.
Yes.
See where they are with it.
Yes.
Do not, push them away or think that because you're the adult and it's your rules
and you know better
and is your rules, is your decision, that they don't have a decision.
That's right.
And that, and that they don't matter, because they do matter.
They do matter. Absolutely.
And one of the things that I want, even blended families to also understand is that your children do have intuition.
Yes, they do.
And they do have discernment. So you cannot ignore that they're feeling some type of way.
Yes.
Because they may be seeing something that can protect this entire family.
Absolutely. You touched on what I was thinking of. Yes.
It's so important to really know what you're going into, because I understand that we get lonely and we get and we feel alone.
Yes.
And like sometimes, it's okay to be alone,
right?
Because we all, are alone sometimes, but when we get lonely, we get desperate.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And so we're bringing in anybody, saying to fill that void.
Yes.
And then the entire family is now contaminated by a decision that you made by default.
Absolutely. That's right.
Yeah. So spiritually, I would like to touch on, how does blended families, connect on a spiritual level?
I think about in the book of Ruth, right? I think about Ruth, Naomi, and Boaz.
Wow.
Okay. So with Naomi, she had a son, and her son was married to Ruth. And so when Naomi's son died, right, then Ruth, she pretty much didn't have Naomi had like two daughter-in-laws. But anyway, so Ruth didn't have a husband anymore. So Naomi basically was about to leave. I'm paraphrasing everything.
Oh, sorry.
So Naomi was about to leave the town that she came from because she was like, I'm old. My son's died. I mean, I really don't have anything left. You know what I mean? To even, she was like, I'm too old. She said, even if you all waited for me to have another son, by then, I mean, you can't wait around that long.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the one daughter-in-law, she was like, well, I'll go with you. And so did Ruth. But Naomi was like, no, just go back to your family, you know, and maybe you could start a life there. Ruth, though, and you were talking about blended families because clearly these were her daughter-in-laws, right? So Ruth basically was like, no. She said, wherever you go, I'm going to go.
Wow.
And I really felt like Naomi must have been some kind of mother-in-law, a loving one, right? A Christ-filled woman, you know. She must have exemplified something of grace, you know, and of love for her daughter-in-law to want to follow what she did, to want to follow in her footsteps and go anywhere she went.
Wow.
And so even though Naomi kept saying, just go back to where, don't come with me. I mean, Ruth was so adamant about it. She was just like, no, I'm not going. I have to go with you.
Wow.
And so I just thought about when they traveled together to another city, Naomi pretty much gave her instructions on what she needed to do. And that is how she found her Boaz.
Wow.
So the whole point of the story is, to me, and I had to sum it up real quick, is just that a lot of times blended families can be a blessing.
Yes, it can.
But you just have to know who it is that you call family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to know what type of relationship this family and you have, you know what I mean? The type of family you have, those dynamics and how it works.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, Ruth and Naomi, they were so close together, so close knit, that whatever she had, she wanted her daughter-in-law to have the best.
Wow.
You know, to get the best. And so she instructed her on how to do that.
Yeah.
And, you know, Ruth was so obedient to whatever Naomi said because she respected her.
Yeah.
And as a result, you know, her reward was Boaz, you know, her prince. Boaz, I call her prince. Where my Boaz at, Lord? Anyway, come on, Jesus. So, but then, you know, it all worked together. So.
Wow. I like that. And I believe that, you know, the secret to achieving, you know, love and peace inside your home is important, you know, so as it relates to a blended family. And I like what you said, because it lets you know that, you know, connecting, you know, blending your family can be an achievement, a success, a soar in the right direction of what, you know, what was original may not have been, you know, what it would have taken to take that family to the next. Because that here's the deal. I'll say it like this: so the family that was already created, we have two families that was already created, you know, and now it's blended into, or, you know, however it goes. But the thing about it is that on a positive level, like someone came into my life to help me to my next.
Yes, that's good.
You know, that's good. And sometimes, you know, we have to look at it positive like that. You said something that was so profound. You said that, you know, how, you know, she looked up to her and, you know, and she helped her and she motivated her and all of those types of things. And you just need to know the DNA of your family.
That's
you
really
have to
good.
know,
Yes,
and because every zip code you don't reside at.
No.
I'm gonna say that again. Every zip code you do not reside at. You cannot make every zip code your home.
That's so good.
You know? And so you have to know each family has a DNA, has a zip code. And when you are forming that family, y'all have a zip code. That's y'all residence. That's where you guys reside. And so, and where we reside, that's home.
Yes.
And we create we don't only have a house, but we have a home.
Yes.
And it's so important for that. And like I said, when we look at blended families, can it work? Yes, it can. You know, but you know, when we're moving with God,
yes,
all things work together.
Yes, absolutely.
When we are not moving with God, you know what I'm saying, we see the destruction.
Yes.
And we have to, number one, keep God at the center of it all and seek him first. So therefore all of these things can be added unto us, that the way that it's supposed to. And so I'm really excited that we had this conversation. There's a lot more I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to, for all of our listeners, I'm going to post some things that's going to help you, whether you're, deciding of a blended family, you're dating somebody and it's a possibility for a merge, or you're already in the merge. And so, or the merge have taken place and now some toxic has happened, and so I want to help you all who's dealing with, blended families in this moment. And so I just want to thank you so much for listening, tuning in, and believing in WHOL Conversations, because we believe that all people should be healed and whole, and we also believe that all lives deserve healed wounds. And so we appreciate you for joining us today on the topic, blended families. We appreciate you. So listen, before we leave, we tell you all the time, we can never, ever leave especially without breathing and meditating, because that's how we let out bad air and that's how we come to peace. So can we end this together?
Yes, we can.
All right. Can you please breathe with us? We can't do this without you. I told you before, we're journeying with you. So we're going to do this breathing exercise together. Ready? On the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's inhale and exhale. Let's inhale. Let's exhale. Last time. Let's inhale. Let's exhale. Wow. We did that. Yes. Every time I do that, I feel good.
It feels good.
And I feel like I think better too when I do it, right?
Clear
and
mind.
So I just wanted to let you know that we inhale peace, exhale stress. We inhale joy and vitality, and exhale depression. Yes. We inhale positivity and light, and exhale all negativity.
Yes.
All right, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you
for tuning in to WHOL Conversations.
Our discussion centered around blended families, the journey, the struggles, the triumphs, and how God guides us through it all. Thank you for engaging in this whole conversation. And on our next episode, we'll discuss how to forgive those who have doubted you. And I invite you to join us as we dive deeper into WHOL Conversations.